My name is Chris Hellawell and I'm the director at the Edinburgh Tool Library. So I am a trustee for the Tool Library, but I'm also on another board for a social enterprise called Door in the Wall Arts Access, CIC. And yeah, I've been working here for about, set the project up about 10 years, and working in and around social enterprise for that time. So the Edinburgh Tool Library is a library that instead of lending out books, we lend out equipment. So we have tools for DIY, painting and decorating, gardening, things like sewing machines, tables for parties, barbecues, things like that. But it's kind of about giving people access to things without them having to buy it, so saving them money, but also everything that you buy there's an environmental footprint that comes with it. So things like tools, particularly for those people that aren't necessarily doing DIY or making things all the time, come at a large cost, a large carbon footprint for being used very seldomly. So we're about getting the things that help you do those jobs really easily and quickly, and then you can give them back so they're not taking up space and you don't have to build a cupboard as well to put it all in. And then we also do a whole program of outreach work, which is focused on people that are sort of traditionally excluded from environments like this. So making that this kind of space an option for work, for a hobby, or meeting people and kind of learning stuff that benefits, learning skills that benefits you in your kind of day to day, and making sure that that's available to everybody. So we started out as a social enterprise. I guess twofold. I mean, there's definitely charitable purpose to what we do, but I think it's also really important to recognise that the idea of a membership and a membership model generates the income that allows us a bit of freedom in terms of how we run the organisation, and I think that's really important to me, and it's really important because it's kind of driving a strategy that we've just kind of been working on. To expand across the city so that more and more people can benefit from what we do, and also I think kind of about that kind of cultural change of sharing over ownership, and that's the kind of thing we want to see to be commonplace instead of us all trying to scramble around and get the money to buy things that we don't actually need. Yeah, I mean, I think our ultimate vision for the Edinburgh Tool Library is more about Edinburgh itself. So, we want to see in 5 years' time, we want to see Edinburgh having a thriving circular economy, and the basis for that to be around sharing. So, looking at assets that are owned by organisations, by individuals, and getting them into as many hands as possible, both as a way of reducing spending in whatever kind of guise that comes, but also as a way of every object has a footprint, so it's about making as few footprints as possible. So the way that we do that through sharing is by getting those objects into as many hands as possible. So I guess as an example, we have one drill that has been borrowed by I think more than 250 different people. If they'd all gone and bought a drill, that would have been tens of thousands of pounds spent on drills, and hundreds of kilograms of carbon. I think it's 25 kilograms of carbon per cordless drill. That adds up very quickly. Those people needed a hole in the wall, not a drill, so they can take it, use it, do the thing that they need to do, and give it back. And collectively, we're all wealthier, I guess, in inverted commas. The people that we support and the people that we help generally fall into two categories, and that's more to do with how they come to us. So we support people who come to us through the outreach programme, So we have 5 main strands of outreach. So we have a long-term funding stream working with the LGBTQ plus community. We have a funding stream that we work with women's groups, we work with the disabled community, we work with young people, and then we have a sort of catch-all which looks at other disadvantages and marginalised groups to support them to access the training and the knowledge. So that's our outreach programme, so that is specifically targeted at those groups. But then, at the membership side of things, like anyone can benefit from it. We have some people, a good proportion. I think we survey last year, it was over a third of the people that come to us. It's because of cost and not wanting to spend money on things that they, see as unnecessarily or unnecessary to spend that money on. Other people who want to sort of walk a bit more lightly on the earth. They don't want to create a carbon footprint if they don't have to. And then all of the sort of things in between. But we have lots of other things that we do. So we have and that have kind of evolved under the umbrella of the Tool Library because we exist, and that have been driven by volunteers and by the community. So we run Repair Cafe Edinburgh as part of our sort of a sister or brother organisation that we support, and they run repair cafes across the city. They do one every month. Free repairs of household items. We have a repairmongery programme, which is very similar, but sort of drop-off service. We have a group of retrofixers who teach people things like home insulation and home improvement stuff, and also look at draft-proofing homes and work with people who are referred through that. So there's people there who are come via things like local MSPs or through citizens' advice, who need support in terms of making ends meet in terms of their bills and things like that. So we make their homes more energy efficient, and we also have a volunteer assembly program. So any charity community group can benefit from that. So they apply to us, and our volunteers will do a weekend build where they'll make something or improve something or take something down, depending on what that's needed. So it really is, all sorts of ways people can benefit, and all sorts of different groups that can benefit from it. But I mean, anybody walking down the street, can come and sign up and save a few quid by joining the Tool Library, or learn a new skill by coming to a class, or and I think our volunteers also benefit as well, in that meeting new people who've kind of got a similar kind of can-do attitude, and yeah, have a good time while doing it. I think it's really important. So the Tools for Life programme is our sort of youth programme. So that's a 12-week programme, and that is young people who are interested in potentially, and both of those. We're not, nobody's committing, we're not going to chase you if you don't go on to be a carpenter, but interested in finding out more about the skills and the industry of becoming a maker. So they come to us through all, they can self-refer, sometimes they come through partner charities, and they come and they work in small groups, usually a cohort of 3 at a time, with a member of staff once a week, and they build things for themselves. They learn about tools, so they'll do, tool repair and how to keep their own kit in good shape. They'll do visits to workshops, professional workshops, and they'll also make something for a separate charity, so another partner, and that will be their decision. We get proposals of things they can do, and we present them, and they decide, and they look at the design and engaging with the with the client, and how they approach all that. And then at the end of it, they've got some skills, and they've got some understanding of what it takes to work in that environment. And if they are so inclined, then we can support them to take the next step, which is looking for work, and we can point them in the right direction. So one of the things that we do at the Tool Library is what we call the volunteer assembly programme, and And any charity constituted group can apply at any point through our website. There's an application form on there with an idea of an improvement or something they would require our help with, and our volunteer support and our equipment over the course of a weekend. And then 3 times a year our volunteers get together and they decide which projects they would like to kind of take forward, and they find out a bit more about them. We've got a sort of voting process, and then they make it happen. One of the examples that we did in the last couple of years, we have helped set up a community workshop in Bingham. So that was Community Renewal, who had took over the community centre there. There was a sort of large double garage that wasn't being used. I think they spoke to their community. There were some people interested in woodworking and things like that, and they came to us and said, we're really interested in running this programme, but we need a little bit of support in terms of doing that. So our volunteers took that project on. We gave them some of our excess tools. Volunteers built workbenches and sort of set the space up. And we've also supported some of the volunteers that give their time in that location. They've come here to do some training with our staff and our volunteers to kind of see how we manage the space as much as the kind of health and safety of the equipment and the tools and things like that. In any walk of life, you could almost say it's really important to have a network, and whether that is a sort of support network, emotional support, but also just other people who kind of get what you're doing or understand some of the struggles that you have. And I think Edinburgh Social Enterprise Network is that in the social enterprise side of things. So I think it's really important to have other people that you can reach out to. I also think it's really important to have a room that you can go in and not have to start out with explaining what a social enterprise is. Having a kind of tribe behind you, and you can get straight to the point or straight to the things that you need support with. And I think that's where networks are vital for that kind of work. As we get larger, so as I said, we would like to be across the city in the next 5 years. And what we're looking at, the model there is a sort of hub and spoke model. So we're looking for spaces to run libraries from, and those libraries will supply pop-up locations around them. So we're really interested in speaking to other community organisations, locations, co-working spaces, public organisations, anybody who has space that we might be able to use, whether that's temporarily, whether that's to pop a box in the corner for people to collect equipment from, or whether that's to rent us a space. But what we really need is, I think, collectively an understanding of the sharing economy and how sharing and the tangibles, but all the intangibles that come from it, how that benefits a community. So how having access to equipment to do something about the things that you want to change in that community is incredibly powerful. It's powerful in I need a drill to fix that thing, but it's also powerful in a space to organise a group of other people who are practical and who are doers, and some expertise and some knowledge from an organisation that have done that in the past. So I would ask people who can kind of see that would be a benefit to their community if they're based within the next 5 years. We're aiming within the bypass and the sea is where the area we're looking to conquer. But if people can see how that kind of thing in their community would be of benefit, would be to reach out. That's why the whole thing with the network is so important and so useful, is to come and have a conversation and to understand where we want to get to in 5 years. And it might be that there is no mutually beneficial arrangement to be had now, but in 3 or 4 years' time, it might be that actually we get back in touch, or they can get in touch with us and say, oh, we know that this is something and you haven't got a space in that area, but we now have the possibility that we can work together. and I think that's what is awareness, is knowledge, and is the openness to potential partnership stuff. That's what we need. In the next 12 months, I'm very excited to. We've spent a lot of time devising a strategy. I'm quite excited to, I am surrounded by people and things that do stuff. So I'm quite excited about doing that rather than talking about doing that. So I'm excited to go into new communities. I think what we do where we are is fantastic, and it's really invigorating, and I get like a real thrill from chatting to people and kind of hearing about what we have been a small part of doing in their lives. But I'm really excited to go into new communities where there are a lot of people who don't know about the Tool Library or haven't lived too far away to benefit from it, and to kind of see all that happening, and also to see how that responds to the community. We're very aware and we're very keen to do it hand in hand with the people that live in those communities, not go and say this is what we're doing. So, the kinds of things that we might have in one area of the city and we might be lending out might be quite different to other places. There'll always be some tools available, but we might look at different types of things that people might want to share and borrow, but also the projects that our volunteers and the communities that we're going into, what they come up with and what they want to do with the assets that we can sort of give them access to. We're not a prescriptive kind of organisation. We want people to come to us and say, well, I think it would be great to do this with it, and we just kind of go, right, well, have at it. How can we help you do that? So I'm kind of excited about the unexpected. Oh, yeah. As much as that as there's always some unexpected that'll fall on my plate that's not that exciting and quite terrifying, but there is a lot that will be lead to some exciting times, I think. I like Edinburgh's size, and Edinburgh does a lot, and there is a lot of variety in Edinburgh without it being huge. Edinburgh doesn't daunt me. I'm a little country boy, originally, and so it's taken me. It took me a long time to grow into going to cities and living in them. But Edinburgh is still got that kind of kind of close feel, and you feel like you're sort of one step away from having a connection with people, and I think that's really really nice about Edinburgh. I think you can kind of see that when you go into community work and this kind of industry, I guess, or third sector work, is that you see familiar faces and you kind of get to know people, and actually you can kind of buy into those people as well as the organisations, which is really really quite nice. The Edinburgh Tool Library is about sharing the assets that already exist in our community and getting them into as many hands as possible, so that as many people as possible can benefit from them. And those assets can be objects, but they can also be skills, and they can be volunteers. But if we do that, then everybody has a better place to live.